Welcome to HoodChampionBoxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Hey, look, man. The two slices of humble pie get served up to Jermell, Charlo, and Errol Spence. That's the question. And I think it's a fair question. I think it's a fair conversation. Because it's not just that they lost. It's how they lost. And in addition to that, it's the talk before their fights that I think kind of left a little bit of a sour taste in the mouth of a lot of people. Now, this isn't a video to talk about Errol Spence and all the, supposed, pre-injuries that he had and whatever supposed injuries he had during the fight or the whole thing with weight. That's not what we're talking about. All right, let's set that aside. Has nothing to do with Jermell Charlo having an injury before the Canelo fight and as far as his inactivity. This is just about how these guys approached going into what I would say the biggest fights of their career. Now, with Errol Spence, it's no secret that he said Terrence Crawford has never fought a fighter on his level. And I think that was fair to say. But when he went on to just say Terrence Crawford fought nobody, questioned Terrence Crawford's abilities, calling him light in the butt, even when they had that interview where they were asking both of them questions to kind of rate their opponents, rate their skill level, and rate different things about them as fighters. Errol Spence was really being foul towards Terrence Crawford, talking about -5, 0. He wasn't giving Crawford credit for anything, which showed me that maybe he wasn't putting on a brave face or anything. He really didn't take Crawford serious. Okay, but I also get it that sometimes the talking it makes for a fascinating lead up. But let me tell you something, that you didn't really see the thoughtfulness and the peace coming from Errol Spence just about being grateful to be in a huge fight with Terrence Crawford until after he got humble, man. The immediate aftermath of the big fight is when you saw Errol Spence really seem like he had come to the realization that, you know what, hold on a second. That didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. Even when he said to his son, I think he was talking to his little man, or he was walking towards him and talking. He was like, so this is what it feels like. Him going through those emotions of, damn, I just lost to somebody who I wasn't supposed to lose to. And I really think that's either going to make Errol Spence a better fighter, or it's gonna haunt him, and he's not going to be able to recover from that loss because of how he lost and all the trash he talked. You see, if he didn't talk a lot of trash, it'd be a little different. If he went into the fight like, look, we bring two different skill sets to the ring, but just the styles we bring, it makes for a pretty even fight, and I'm going to do my best to win. No, it was just a whole lot of talk like, Terrence Crawford he's not qualified to be in here with me. And Crawford gave Errol Spence all the credit in the world. All the credit in the world. It was when they got into that ring is when Crawford said, you know what? I didn't do a lot of talking, but it's time to talk in this ring. And Crawford showed that aggression that, these fighters show in their training camps when they're training to fight. And you realize real quick in that fight between Crawford and Errol Spence that something profound was going to happen. And that first round, you saw, wow, this is a competitive fight. But after that first round, you saw, okay, what we felt like, where we felt something profound was going to take place, it took place. And it continued after that second round. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I realized that fight was going to come to an end just a matter of time after that second round. I think Crawford realized it, his corner realized it, Errol Spence's corner realized it, and more importantly, Errol Spence realized it. He got a slice of that humble pie in that second round. Now, I'm going to tell you this. You don't have to know nothing about boxing. But if you're watching that fight, I'm sure even you would have concluded like, whoa, this isn't looking good for for this particular guy who will be Errol Spence. Okay? That's where, you've got to, I just think it's important for fighters to keep their head. You know what I'm saying? There has to be some kind of self-control. I get it. The instincts, the natural instincts tell fighters that, hey, I feel that there's no one who can beat me. And I get that. That's like, I feel that way about a lot. But also, you got to be a little bit of humility there, where you're taking a look at yourself and kind of knowing your strengths and weaknesses and really understand your opponent's strengths and weaknesses, where you're looking at, just like you're looking at how you can exploit what they don't do good, you got to look at what they could possibly do to exploit the things that you don't do so well. And that's where the trainer comes in. But all that stuff about, I don't have any problems, I don't have any shortfalls, that's all bullshit manhood, man. That's all crap. And you saw that big time with Jermell Charlo. He's sitting there watching Canelo fight. I don't know who Canelo fight, a Ryder? Talking about I can beat him. My man sat back watching. That's like me, right? Going to the gym, watching young guys spar, and feeling like, oh man, I can get in there and take them, even though I know what I was capable to do at a point in time. But it's different once you get in there. And then what happened to Jermell Charlo? He got in there. He got, he got touched. Canelo put the hand of God on him. And then he just, headed for the hills. He wasn't trying to hear it. There it goes again, that bullshit manhood, man. He's inferior to me. I don't have the shortfalls. He does. Every night of the week, every day and night of the week, I beat him in any fight. And you know what, man? And you saw what happened. And the thing is, the guys in both of these fights who were doing the most talking, they weren't the mild-mannered ones. The ones who were, I would say, were the one who was the mildest man in that Spence fight was Crawford. The one who was the mildest man in that Charlo and Canelo fight, that was Canelo. And I'm going to tell you what, I know that Crawford and Spence, I know if I saw it from here in my house watching them fight on TV, Crawford and Spence have been close up to watching Canelo fight and watching Terrence Crawford fight. They knew they were dealing with extremely nasty, physical, ferocious fighters who come in there to hurt you. But they didn't realize what they were getting into because they never had an opportunity to get in there and deal with those guys with their fists inside gloves and swinging. But once the real deal started, I put it to you this way. There was one fighter in that ring who felt like, hey, I have nothing to prove now. And there's another fighter who was going through those rounds feeling like, oh boy, I made a mistake. You know what I'm saying? Hold on a second. Hello? Okay. Well, just let me know if you need something. Yep, I agree. All right, well, I'll be here. Let me know if you need something. All right, bye. Sorry about that. That was my wife, man. But what I was getting at here is somebody in that ring was feeling like, you know what? As these rounds go by, I don't have nothing to prove. And the other person was feeling like, man, I got a whole lot to prove because I'm losing. And that was Errol Spence and that was Jermell Charlo. Okay? But, just looking at them going into the fights and looking at the things that have happened after the fight, for me, it's just trying to get to know these guys as boxers and just trying to understand them as, athletes and human beings and just the transformation, right? Because what we saw is a transformation from Errol Spence and Jermell Charlo's personalities that we've grown to know so well. The tension, the aggressiveness, the bravado. You guys notice that all of that stuff tend to kind of change, right? As the fight's going on, you can see that transition happening to Spence and Crawford, where they're like, little by little, you're seeing the confidence and the life stripped out of them, beat out of them. Now, I'm not making that up. You can see that round after round. And I tell you what, if there was a mask that they wore in the ring, that mask got pulled down, and you could see it was a different expression. That mask they had on, that expression that's on their face that was being covered up by that mask is not the same expression that that mask showed. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I think what happened is after those guys both lost and they got served up that slice of humble pie, what you saw is they both, I think they came to the realization that, you know what, man, I'm human. And I think that that nefarious personality, that kind of villain personality, man, I think it disappeared. And then you just see that what emerges is almost like a likable human being. And I think that's important to be somewhat personable, likable before you get into the fight. You shouldn't have to have somebody beat the wickedness out of you just for us to get to see that, you know, hey, you are a decent person who can give somebody credit and show respect. But,
Keisha Hossein.
hold on one second. Hello?
Yeah, they sent a link to you, but don't pay it.
All right.
They'll send it.
Okay. All right, bye. Yeah. But for some of these personalities, man, they're just complex characters, man. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, Roberto Duran once said, you know, that when it comes to fighters, you go to a really dark place. And you come out on the other side as, you know, some of the most decent people that a person can meet. And I think what happened here with Errol Spence and Jermell Charlo is we actually got to meet very, very decent people at the end of their fights. And I think we're lucky to have had a chance to see that. But I'm going to tell you right now, man, you know, even with me, when you meet guys who boxed or who've trained in any kind of combat sports, there's a little bit of swag to them. You know, there's a little bit of swag to them. There's a little bit of rock star in them. You know what I'm saying? Because I think they know that when it comes to inflicting harm on somebody or someone inflicting harm on them, you know, they're familiar with it. And I just think they're locked into just like a clinch of fierceness, you know what I'm saying? A ferociousness. And they don't have a problem with someone trying to inflict that on them or for them to inflict it on you. But I think for most of them, there's still a certain line of respect that you have. But I think you can pick that up on some people. It's a certain energy that they have. But when you get these guys like how Jermell and his brother have carried on, Errol Spence was always pretty cool, but he didn't show Terrence Crawford any respect, in my opinion. You know, that loud and carrying on and making noise and idle threats, you know, that's all crap. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to hear that. And does it help for a fight build up? I think sometimes it does, but you can't be doing that with any and everybody you run up on, telling people, if you're really about that life, meet me halfway. I mean, who tells somebody that? You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, whether you love Jermell Charlo, you love Errol Spence, you hate Jermell Charlo, you hate Errol Spence, I just think there's some life lessons that we can all take from both of those guys getting served up a slice of humble pie. You know, whatever it is you choose to take from it, I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of the energy that these guys expended towards just trying to, you know, downplay their opponent's talent, I just think that they won't do that going forward anymore. And if they do, it'll be in a more mindful way where they give them more credit than what they didn't. Because when you're all emotional and you're not calm and collected, you can do and say some things that result in some serious hard blows that life will land on you. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I think for Jermell Charlo and Errol Spence at this point in time, it's just a matter of getting the right particular fights going forward, understanding the tough fight that they had and that they lost, and to do more embracing their foes and just try to forgive and forget what's happened and move forward. Because I'm telling you right now, that slice of humble pie, it could really affect these guys going forward in a good way or bad way. And it's like I heard watching one of them kung fu movies. He said we all may have a different status in life, but we share the same dignity. And I think Earl Spence and Jermell Charlo, I think they will apply that definitely to their opponents and how they view their opponents going forward. But then again, we have to wait and see. That being said, y'all keep cool. 2 slices of humble pie. I've had my slice before in life, and let me tell you something. That's probably one of the best things that's happened to me. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.